So, look what arrived today. Well, actually, just now, this evening. I'm going to get it open, but this is the new Mini Quilter tabletop fabric frame from Grace, and I will give you the details in a bit. Gonna get the box open first. Be right back. So I'm not sure what's going to work for doing a video on this, but I wanted to show you. This is what was inside immediately. And also there was a sheet of styrofoam, which I already took out because I really can't handle the styrofoam. So I'm going to take this away, and it tells you, you know, QR code if you want to leave them feedback. And then what was nice about it is you got a free gift because you pre-ordered. And if you pre-ordered, you got this beautiful, wow, from Grace, also a true cut ruler. So I'll be sharing that with you, and the rotary cutter that goes with it. And also something else in here belongs to the oh, here, it's in there. So this was a perk, which is awesome. And then I'm just going to show you how it's packaged. Here's your info. Find a spot for that. And here's your frame, obviously. And I'm going to lose all the styrofoam into a bag. And we'll see what the parts are. It's supposed to be very easy to assemble, so let me get it out of the box and then show you how to put it together. So here's just a little quick video of what was in the box. Obviously, these are the two handles to steer your machine. That's the chassis your machine goes on. There are some extra parts in there, screws and bolts and whatever. I'm sure these are the railings. Perhaps these are for the sides, and this is for the front and the back. And then there's the base that's sitting here in the box. And then they just gave a little schematic, which I will also show you from the Grace Company. And also I'm going to now attempt to put it together. So let's see how this goes. So these are the parts from left to right. The clamps, all of the green things you see are clamps, rail clamps. Then you have the frame tracks. You get two of those. You get a left and a right sidewall, and then you have a front rail, and then you have a take-up rail. So I'm going to get started putting that together. So the first step was just to find the Allen wrench in the package. Lift up your left sidewall, your right sidewall, and attach the front rail and the back rail to it with the bolts that are already in place in the bars on the side. So that was it. Let's move on to step 2. So what you do next is you measure your the bed of your machine. So I went from the pillar to the chin space on my machine is 12 inches. And so what you do is you look at the manual, and it tells you where you should set your rails, your guard rails. And for my machine, it's set on the C letter on the rail, because there is a divot on the rail, and add your screw to connect into the divot. So that's what I'm doing now. Next thing you do is just take your base plate and just rest it on these two bars, making sure that the ball bearings underneath are sliding freely. This piece is already assembled. It seems to be working fine for me. If there are any adjustments that I need to make, I will make them. But right now, this is just how it goes. And now I'm going to get the base plate. all I did next is took the base plate, and that's the base for your sewing machine, where your sewing machine's going to sit. I'm going to assume these are some kind of lock washers that are going to go in here to hold my machine in place on here. All I had to do with this was attach the handles, which is there's 2 holes in there and there's 2 screws right there. Loosen the screws, slip these in, adjust them to where you want them. I guess I could do that adjustment later. You could turn them down, you could turn them up, and look how beautifully it moves around. So I imagine there might be an adjustment I have to make. Right now it seems like it's moving well. And I imagine when my machine is on there, which is 30-pound machine, that is not going to move off the rollers at all. I have to say one thing, the ball bearings on this are beautiful. They really are. Everything's running smooth. And I really have to say, this was not hard to put together at all. I think it was harder because I was paying attention to the directions than I was to simple common sense putting it together. But anyway, that's what we got so far. So we'll be back with the next step. And next for me was the hardest part. I had to lift my Singer 201 from 1948 out of its base because the base was going to maybe make it inside those brackets, but it was such a tight fit I didn't want to risk putting it on there and cracking those little clamps. So what I did was I took it out of the base because a Singer 201 can run out of the base. It doesn't need a base. I would have liked it, but it doesn't matter. The machine is so heavy, it's going to keep everything in place. And I want to show you already how easily it moves. I'm literally moving this with one hand. And so this machine has about, I think it was an 8 or a 9-inch throat space. So that's the biggest machine that I have. And so that's the one I'm going to use. Now all you do is you adjust the height of these 2 railings on the side to accommodate this bar that goes in here. So it looks like I'm going to have to raise that. So let me make that adjustment next. So here's me fake quilting. Here we go. What's my range? I guess about here. I guess it's going to go about half of what I have on the frame. And until I learn how to not bump the end of the frame, well, maybe that's a normal thing, right? What I did do is I put these feet in here to keep my wire, the extra feet that weren't clamped onto my machine. I ended up clamping the wire on. I put it underneath the machine, but remember I don't have a box under my machine, so I use these clamps instead, and it's rather loose, so it's not like I can't pull it out, and it's just keeping it out of the way of sewing. And that's it. And I guess tomorrow I'm gonna put something on the frame and get it quilted. There you have it, folks. Thanks so much for watching. See you when I see you. So as you can see, I set up the machine with a small quilt to test out. I pulled up my bobbin thread. I didn't change the needle. I didn't change the tension. All I did do was pull up the thread. I'm trying to get the pedal where I can reach it. If you remember, I had mentioned that I was going to extend the pedal cord so it would work with this machine on the frame. And it's a little difficult to get this where you could see it, but here goes. I'm going to stop right there and see if I could just tighten the fabric up a little bit. I think, you know, I adjusted the height just right because as you can see, the bed is right under there. But just watch the dark green the dark green thread that I threw in there, and I'm just going to play a little bit. So I'm going to go up as far as I can. Oop, don't go too far. The hopping foot hit that rail there. Okay, so that's about as far as I want to go up. Let's see how far I could go down on this trail. And now it's about to hit the column. That's not so bad. So if I were doing a quilt, I would have about the 8 inches almost. Of course, this would work better if I had tethered it something larger to both sides, but I could tell already this is going to be exactly what I want. See, I shouldn't go this far and hit that. I don't know if there's a way to prevent that, or just learn to not do it. Anyway, that's the maiden voyage, and I'll be sure to share more as I do more. Thanks so much.